Hey everyone, how y'all doing? Welcome and welcome back to my channel and welcome to Vlogmas Day 8. So today I'm doing the Grinch book tag and this was created by Thoughts on Tome, so I'll definitely link her video down below so you guys can go check it out. But before we get into the video, I just want to remind you guys that I am uploading every single day this month, so you don't want to miss it, so make sure to subscribe down below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. But let's just get right on into the tag. So the first question is, half of the lights on the Christmas tree are burnt out. Name a book / series / character that started out good but went downhill. So for this one I chose the Arc of a Scythe series by Neil Shusterman. I do own these, I just don't feel like grabbing them. But I loved the first two books in this series, but the third one was just so disappointing. It was really boring. I just didn't care anymore by this point. The novelty had kind of worn off and just like nothing about it really excited me. I didn't care about the characters anymore. I didn't care about the plot or really the world. I have a whole reading vlog for this series that I did this year where I try to read the entire series in 3 days. I'll make sure to link that up above in the cards if you guys want to go check it out. But the last book was just so disappointing and not at all what I was wanting from it. It really sucks and it's kind of tainted the whole series for me now, but this is definitely one where it started out really strong and really great and then it ended on a really sour note. The second question is, annoying great Aunt Sally who will not leave you alone. Name a book that you didn't enjoy but everyone else seems to love so it never goes away. So for this one I chose This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. I'm sure there are other ones that I could have chosen for this question, but The Savage Song was just one of the first ones that came to mind. So I love Victoria Schwab, but this is just one of her books that just did not hit for me. I really liked the writing, but that was about it. I didn't care about the characters or the world or the actual story, but most people I think love this book. I think I've seen more people who like it than don't. It's always been talked about. I feel like less so now than it used to, but I know that there are a lot of people on booktube who still really love this book, and I wish I loved it too, but I don't. And the third question is, your pets keep knocking over the Christmas decorations. Name a character that kept messing things up for everyone else and you can't pick a villain. So this one might be slightly cheating because the character that I chose is technically a villain, but they're masking as a hero, so I figure it works, and if not, oh well. So I chose Nova from the Renegade series by Marissa Meyer. So yes, Nova is an anarchist, which are the villains of this world, and because nobody really knows her identity, she goes undercover as a renegade to kind of infiltrate them from the inside out. But because she's pretending to be a hero, she kind of grapples with being a villain or being a hero the entire series and is kind of like second guessing herself, I think. I'm kind of feeling bad about her actions. I feel like she's not completely a villain, and she's also not technically the main villain of the series either. So I'm gonna say this counts. Plus she's also like one of the main characters, so I'm just gonna say this works. But since her whole deal is pretending to be a renegade and to kind of take them out from within, she kind of messes up everything. Like she takes them down the wrong path, she like manipulates them, so she's constantly messing things up for them on purpose, and that's kind of like her whole purpose in the series. So I thought that Nova was a pretty good answer for this question. The fourth question is, you hear your parents putting out the presents and learn Santa isn't real. Name a book you were spoiled for. Okay, so I genuinely could not think of an actual book that I've been spoiled for. I've been very lucky to not actually have been spoiled for anything, at least not that I can think of. Maybe I was and I just don't remember, but the only one that I could kind of think for this one was Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. So I wasn't actually spoiled for this one, but there was a lot of talk surrounding this book and people talking about how the ending will destroy you and how somebody dies at the end, and so I guess I was spoiled that somebody died. So I knew that going into it, and because I had these expectations and thought that somebody was gonna die, it ended up ruining the book for me. So I guess in a way it was a spoiler because it kind of spoiled the book, like it ruined it a bit, but I wasn't actually spoiled for who dies. It was just kind of like a general, somebody dies in this book and it's heartbreaking. So I don't count this as actually being spoiled, but I genuinely couldn't think of one that actually I was spoiled for, like an actual like specific plot point that I knew 100% going into it what happened. But this one I guess kind of counts. Number 5, it's freezing outside. Name a main character you couldn't connect with. So for this one I went with Brighton from Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. I read this book, oh my goodness, at the beginning of the year. That's how long 2020 has been. This book came out in January. Okay then. So I did not like this book in general. I didn't like any of the characters, but I particularly did not like Brighton and could not connect with him. There was like one part that I could, and that was that he was a YouTuber, and so I connected to that because obviously I'm a YouTuber. It's the way that he handled YouTube and the way that he kind of handled everything. He kind of felt really selfish and ungrateful for what he had, and he was just a completely like jealous and envious character that I just didn't enjoy reading from. He was just jealous of his brother the entire book and not happy for him or supportive. He was just angry angry and jealous, and then anytime he did anything to do with social media or YouTube, he was just ungrateful for what he did have, the followers that he had, even though he had a lot of followers, and he just wanted more all of the time. He just wanted more than what he actually had, even though he did have quite a lot. That just really rubbed me the wrong way, and I couldn't connect to it, and I just didn't like it. So did not like Brighton, could not connect with him. Really wish he didn't have his own POV in that book, but it's fine. Number 6, Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, and it's giving you anti-romantic feelings. Name a couple you couldn't stand. So I also own this book, but it's behind my Christmas tree, so I can't really grab it, but it is Conrad and Belly from the Summer I Turned Pretty series by Jenny Han. I hate them. So there was a love triangle in this series, and it was between Belly, who was our main character, and two brothers, Conrad and Jeremiah. So we start out the series with her liking Conrad, and all she wants is Conrad. She's been crushing on him like her entire life, and she finally gets with Conrad. But then I don't remember what he does, but he doesn't treat her right. He does something wrong, and there's like this big blowout, I think. It's been years since I've read the series. And then she ends up dating Jeremiah, and I loved them together. I thought that he treated her way better. I thought they had better chemistry and everything. Like everything was just better with those two. And then it seems like Endgame is gonna be Jeremiah and Belly, and it's amazing. And then we just randomly switch, and she goes to Conrad, and it makes absolutely no sense, and I hate it a whole heck of a lot. It was really bad. No thank you. Did not enjoy. Number 7, that scratchy homemade wool sweater you got for Christmas years ago but won't get rid of. Show some books that have been sitting on your shelves for a while and you aren't motivated to read, but you didn't have the heart to get rid of. So I chose 2 books for this one. I probably could have picked more, but I just chose 2. So the first one is The Masked Truth by Kelly Armstrong. So I've had this book on my shelf for I don't even know how long. At least 3 years, but I'm pretty sure it's more like 4 or 5 years. I'm sure it's in a book haul somewhere on my channel, but I got this on sale at Chapters, and Kelly Armstrong used to be one of my favorite authors. Actually, no, she used to be my favorite author. So when I saw this on sale, I didn't really like look into it that much. I just kind of bought it, and I haven't read a new Kelly Armstrong book in 6 years, and I've never really reached for this one. I have put it on TBRs before. I did have plans to buddy read it with my Anna, I think, at one point, but we just never got around to it. But yeah, like I haven't really wanted to read this book that badly in the last however many years I've had it, but I also just like feel bad getting rid of any Kelly Armstrong book, and I just can't seem to do it. Like I have another series by her where I've read the first book and never read the second one, but I own it, and I can't seem to part with it. So I'm hoping to get to this at some point because I don't want to get rid of it, but it has just been sitting on here for a long time collecting dust. The next one is The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. So already to begin with, this book is not really up my alley. It's a historical fiction. I believe it deals with World War II, and that's just not something that I enjoy reading about. I have read books that deal with this time period before, and I did enjoy them, but it's not typically what I reach for. I just don't typically reach for any sort of historical book. But I bought this book because everybody and their mother loves it, or at least most people love this book. It's basically like a classic at this point. Like everyone loves it, everyone talks about it, everyone says how it's their like favorite book of all time, and all these like amazing things, and people were just hyping it up. I believe I bought it like 5 years ago, maybe at Walmart, so it was 40% off, and I was like, well, if I'm ever gonna buy it, now is the time. And then I started reading it in the store just to like make sure that I would want to actually purchase it, and it was in the point of view of Death. Like Death is narrating the story, and that's what intrigued me about this book. But in the however many years, 5 years that I've owned this book, I've just never been motivated to pick this book up, but I also just like can't get rid of it because I feel bad since it is such like a beloved classic book. So maybe one day I'll watch the movie and see if the movie motivates me to pick up the book, but for right now I just don't know if I'm ever gonna get around to it, but I feel bad getting rid of it, so I don't. My brain's weird. Number 8, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Such a good song, by the way. Name a character death you are still mad about. So I have 2 for this one. So these are going to be spoilers for Anne of Green Gables and also the Infernal Devices series. So if you have not read these books, click off. I'm going to talk about Anne of Green Gables first. I love this book, as you guys know. It's one of my favorite books of all time. But in this book, a character dies, and I knew that he was going to die because I'd watched the movies before I read the book. So I knew that he was going to die. But then I got to the book and I read it for the first time when I was 10, and for some reason, nothing could have prepared me for it. So basically Matthew dies. He is one of the people who take Anne in and adopt her, and he just has this beautiful connection with Anne. He's the one that fights to keep her. He's the one that just loves her and just spoils her, and he's just completely endeared by her, and she just brings him out of his shell a little bit, and they are the cutest. I love Matthew with my entire being. He's like the sweetest old man, and he ends up dying in this book, and it broke my little heart, and I want to cry thinking talking about it, but he broke my little heart because it was like one of Anne's best friends, you know, like the person who wanted her, the first person. Oh god, I'm gonna cry. The first person to ever truly want her and make her feel loved, and I wish he didn't have to die. It's so sad. But yeah, I just remember reading it, sobbing, and then it was like the middle of the night and I heard my mom go to the bathroom and I ran out and I just went to her and I was like, Matthew just died. Oh my god, it was so sad. And like, I knew it was coming, but it didn't make it any less sad. So there's that. And then the other one is from the Infernal Devices, so if you haven't read this, also just like skip past this part if you don't want to be spoiled. But this is another one that like shouldn't hurt as much as it does because like it makes sense why it happens. But Will Herondale dies at the end of this book. We find out that he died. Like, it's fine because he was like an old man at that point, so I think it was just from old age. So like, it's fine, you know, he lived a long, beautiful life. He got to be with Tessa and it was great. But it doesn't hurt any less, you know, because I love Will Herondale so much. He's definitely one of my favorite fictional characters. I cry every time. I mean, I've only read this book twice, but both times I cried. It's just so sad. Number 9, the malls are overcrowded with holiday shoppers. Name a series that has too many books in it / went on for too long. So for this one I chose Shadow Me by Tahara Mafi. So when it was announced that 3 new books were coming out in this series, I was really excited and I reread the original trilogy and I was like, oh my goodness, with the way Ignite Me ends, how did I ever think that this was a satisfying ending? Like, I'm so happy we're getting more because there's just so much more to explore after the end of Ignite Me. That being said, now that the 3 extra books are all out, the series is complete, I'm wondering if that was a good idea because it just feels like it dragged on for too long. I enjoyed Restore Me, I really liked Defy Me, and then Imagine Me just kind of felt like a repeat of Defy Me in a way. Like, it felt like a different draft of Defy Me almost. I don't know, like at that point I was just kind of tired of it. I mean, I still enjoyed it. I have a vlog of me reading that book if you guys want to go check it out in the cards. I did enjoy it. I just feel like it could have been wrapped up in 2 more books or just 1 more book. Maybe the 2 books. I feel like it would have been good if it just stopped at Defy Me, and maybe if you just like added a few of the things that were in Imagine Me into Defy Me, I feel like it would have been fine. But regardless, the new 3 books just don't match up to the first 3, and so I feel like for that reason it just went on for too long and just they weren't as good. Like, I don't know what happened with that, but I just know that I think it did go on for too long. Even though I adore the series with my entire heart, I do feel like it went on for just a tad bit too long. And the last question, number 10, The Grinch. Name a main character you hate. No villains again. I really could not think, besides Brighton from Infinity Sun, of a main character that I hate. I'm sure there is one, but I couldn't really think of one like on my shelves or one that just came to mind. So I went with a book that I read a long time ago, and that is Where It Began by Anne Reddish-Stampler. This is my least favorite book of all time. I don't think I've ever read a book that has made me as mad as this one did. It's just, oh, it's so bad. So the main character's name is Gabby, and basically the whole premise of this book is that she has gotten into a car accident in her boyfriend's car, and so when she kind of like wakes up from the accident, she's in a lot of pain, I'm pretty sure. Like, there's things going on, and then her boyfriend's dad is suing her for wrecking his son's car. But the entire book, even though she just got in a car accident, she's being sued, all she seems to care about is the boyfriend Billy. That's all she cares about, even though he is currently dating somebody else, essentially cheating on her, I'm pretty sure, because she was still under the impression that they were dating, but he was with somebody else instead, and he just treated her like absolute garbage, and he's all she seemed to care about the entire book. She's like, oh my god, but what about Billy? What does Billy think? What's Billy doing? Does Billy still love me? And I'm like, girl, you've got worse things going on. You have more important things going on that you should be worrying about than worrying about Billy, who is a garbage human being who does not care about your feelings whatsoever. She was just such an annoying character and somebody that I did not want to read from, and like I said, this is my least favorite book of all time. It was absolute garbage. Did not enjoy this main character whatsoever, and I hope that I never read about a character like her again because it was just so infuriating to read about. Okay, so that was the Grinch book tape. Yeah, book tape. Okay, so that was the Grinch book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up. Leave a green heart emoji for the Grinch down below if you watched the entire way through. Subscribe if you have not yet already. Remember, I am uploading a video every single day this month. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can follow me along on all these Christmassy fun videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!